NSE All Share Index is down 0.15%. And some of the losers we're looking at today, Unilever, MTN, Flour Mills, and Cadbury. And Moses Ahmed is an investment analyst at Investment One Financial Services, joins me now to wrap up the market this week. Thank you so much for your time today, Moses. And let's start with your assessment of the markets this week.
Well, this week, I think sometimes, even since last week, we've seen a positive sentiment in the market, thanks to decent results that have been released so far by some of the companies on the exchange. I think most of the results generally have been well above expectation, and that's why investors have been taking position in some of the quality names, which actually started last week. And even this week, even though market lost today, I think this week market will still close around 0.63% up for the week. So I think that's a sentiment, but it's not a strong one, but there's a positive sentiment in the market for now.
All right, but what's the kind of catalyst you think the market needs to get the numbers pumping?
I think if we see decent result from the from the tier one banks, the likes of Zenith, GTB, Access, and UBA, the result of those banks will actually dictate the direction of the market in the near term, particularly for the end of this quarter. That will actually shape the direction of the market significantly. Although we are still expecting GDP numbers, which actually most analysts were expected to be weak. But generally, if we see decent performance from these banks, I think that will actually support market sentiment for the end of the quarter.
All right, but looking at some of the sectors though and how they performed so far, like the consumer goods space though, what's your take on that space?
I think some of them have not done very well. I think the likes of Unilever, the result is not so good, but Nestle still managed to post a decent result, even in the challenge based on the challenges they faced during the lockdown. I think Zenith is the only names in that space that you can say. And for breweries, most of them the result has not been good. Taking it from Guinness, Nigerian breweries, and international breweries. So those results, the result of these companies have not been good. But I think Nestle is the only exception in that space that you can say at least the company has still tried a little bit to even post a decent result in a challenging environment like this.
All right, definitely quite a lot the COVID-19 pandemic has put pressure on the market and some of the big names that we're looking at here. But today we saw the unemployment figures coming in, and I'd like to get your thoughts on that and how you see this playing across board in the markets.
Well, unemployment data is an historical data, and of course, what we saw for up to Q2 2020, and of course, it was 27% unemployment rate. I think to a large extent, markets may not really react significantly to that because it's largely expected. Even some analysts are even looking at the figures and say, hey, these figures are even below expectation. Many people are expecting 30% unemployment rate, and 27% is still below most analysts' expectation, given what we have faced since the last unemployment figure that was released for Q3 2018, and this is 2020, so that's almost 3 years, almost 2 years rather. And if you look at what has happened in the last 2 years, you can say even with this COVID-19 and everything, you will expect even a much more worse unemployment number. But again, you can understand, even if you break it down further, you can see the number of people in the labor force also fell, telling you that the number of people that are chasing or that are looking for jobs has reduced out there. That can also give you an impression of this level of discouraged workers that we have in the economy, people that have been trying to get jobs, but they've not been able to get one. Some of them are already discouraged. Some of them are not even looking for a job again. So there's kind of a lot. If you break the number down, you can have a lot of sense around what is happening. And going forward, you can imagine what you should expect with this COVID-19 still still affecting companies. And most companies may not even come back again. If you look at what analysts have been saying and if you read different reports, some of these some sectors may not even come back again. You can expect how that will affect consumer spending and the poverty level in the country.
All right, but looking into next week though, what can we expect for the markets?
I think market will still be like this. We expect market to still be positive, but not a strong buy interest. We don't expect a strong buy interest. I think most investors are waiting for the tier one names to release their result. I mean, tier one banking names. Those results, they have a way of shaping the direction of the market. Zenny, GTB, Access, UBA. Once we see those numbers, that will, in a significant manner, determine what you should expect for the market. But while we wait for that one, we expect investors to still position in some of these names. Even we notice some buy interest in GTB that appears investors are betting a better result from them. So I think you can see kind of that kind of activity playing out, but not a significant sell-off or even a single buy interest. I can say more or less a flattish market for next week.